What's up? I'm Dustin. This is Brent. This is our weekly baseball show. Only 1 week until the fantasy baseball playoffs start in most leagues. Hopefully you're in position to make it, and hopefully we actually helped you a little bit along the way. But let's get right into that waiver wire for that final push.
And we're going to start off with Jay Bruce of the Cincinnati Reds, only owned in 60% of leagues. Now, this guy obviously has a name attached to him, but he hadn't been playing great all year. But in the last month, 8 home runs and a .333 average. Just to give you a little bit of insight on the home runs, he's had 18 for the season, so he's had 8 of those in the last month. Just been killing the ball as of late. Next, we have Austin Jackson. Now, he's only owned in 55% of leagues, and we can sort of understand why. I mean, he started off really hot, got picked up almost universally. He really cooled off, got dropped a lot, but he's back on one of those hot streaks. So if you need a guy to give you some speed in the playoffs, he's a great guy to keep an eye on, and he's batting over 300 for the season. Next, we have Jose Tabata of the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's only owned in 25% of leagues. Why? We've been talking about this guy. For the last couple months, it almost seems he's been playing great. He's been batting over 300, and this is definitely a guy that's going to get you bags. You need speed to win championships. Here's a guy that would be a great ad for any team. And the last outfielder we're going to talk about is Gregor Blanco. Now, he's on the Kansas City Royals, only owned in 5% of leagues. He was traded from the Braves. So we're saying, he's a young guy. We really want to keep an eye on him more. We're not saying run out and add him in all leagues universally, just because we're not 100% sure of how he's going to pan out, if he is going to start every day, even though it does look that way. Long story short, he's another speed guy. He's going to bat for average. Worth an ad, especially in deeper leagues.
All right, let's move into a shortstop, and we got Steven Drew, only on 70% of leagues. In his last about 100 at-bats, he's got 8 home runs, 19 RBIs, batting well over 300. Guy's on fire, need a shortstop, there you go. Next, we got Ryan Rayburn. We actually really like this guy at this point in the season, only on in 40% of leagues. In his last 100 at-bats, 8 home runs, 21 RBIs, and batting well over 300 as well. He's a young enough guy, still has a chance of having some breakout seasons. And get this, first base, second base, and outfield eligible.
That's nice.
Just icing on the cake. We actually really like him as an ad right now. Moving into some pitchers, we got Max Scherzer for Detroit. Not really understanding why he's only on in 65% of leagues. He's having a decent season. In the last month, he's got a 3-1 record, an ERA just over 1, and about a K per inning. We don't see what the problem is. We say pick him up if you need a starter. And next, we got a couple of closers for you, and Takahashi out there with the Mets, and Rodney, the new closer for the Angels. Both these guys own in less than 50% of leagues, and these guys have been pitching pretty good lately. If you at all need saves, we say go ahead and pick them up with confidence.
All right, Dustin, let's get into some of those forum questions, and the first one comes from JXR29. He's in a 5x5 Dynasty League, and he wants to know, should he trade Hunter Pence and get John Danks in return?
This just all comes down to what your team needs. Both of these are... I think as far as trading an outfielder for a starting pitcher goes, this is a fair trade. Even in a Dynasty League, they're both young guys with upsides. They're having decent seasons. So just take a look at your team. If you need an outfielder more than a starting pitcher, don't do it. But if you need some help with pitching, obviously go ahead and pull the trigger. All right, Brent, we got one from DeMonte9. He's in a 16-team league, 30-man rosters, and you keep 10 keepers a year. And he's having a hard time picking his 10th keeper between Ian Kinsler and Clayton Kershaw.
It's just a ridiculous league, but
sounds like fun, though.
We find it does sound very fun, but we find it hard to believe that you got 9 guys better than both Kinsler and Kershaw. We really think that you should probably be keeping both of these guys, but if that really is the case and you have a very solid team, out of these two, we like Kershaw a little bit more. We think the young pitcher is going to be kept a lot longer time. We think he'll be solid for years to come. But just reevaluate who the other 9 people are. There might be somebody else that you might be taking off that list.
And a 16-team, 30-man roster.
It's huge.
That does sound like fun. But that's it for this week's show. As always, get into our forums. Check out our football games if you haven't already. And good luck in your fantasy baseball playoffs. I'm Dustin. This is Brent. See you next time.